Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
In a world where shadows dance and dreams take flight through the veil of reality into the night, Rob McConnell leads the way, a beacon so bright. With over 35 years, he ignites the light. A voice from the north where whispers are bold, stories untold in the echoes of old. Fact meets fiction in this realm of delight, in the X Zone where dark turns to bright. Welcome to the X Zone, believe and be free, a sanctuary for truth that dare to be seen, where the line between realms gently blurs, in a symphony of voices the mind stirs. With Rob McConnell, stories unfold, tales of the unknown that shimmer like gold.
And good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Now, if you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. And tonight, well, we're coming to you around the world as we always do. Number one, like I said, the X Zone Broadcast Network, then the Talkstar Radio Network, the Mutual Broadcast Network, and streamed around the world by our good friends at your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM, right here in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Exonation, tonight we're honored to welcome a fully extraordinary guest, Rabbi RAMI SHAPIRO, a rabbi, author, spiritual teacher, and philosopher whose work transcends religious boundaries and dogma to speak directly to the human soul. Rabbi RAMI has written over 30 books on religion, spirituality, ethics, and is known for his deep insights, candid irreverence, and unwavering commitment to spiritual authenticity. Through his Substack newsletter at rabbirami.substack.com, he explores what it means to live wisely, love fiercely, and awaken to the sacred that pervades all things. Now, whether you're religious, a spiritual but not religious, a seeker or a skeptic, get ready for a deeply thoughtful, often humorous, and always profound conversation. Joining me now on the X Zone is Rabbi RAMI SHAPIRO, and Rabbi, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here again.
It's always nice talking to you, Rabbi. Rabbi, can you share with our listeners your spiritual journey and how it led to you becoming a rabbi, author, and teacher?
Well, I'm not sure there's such a thing as a spiritual journey. That sounds like you start at point A and end up at point Z.
Right.
I don't know if it really works that way.
Okay.
I've had a lot of events happen in my life, and you can then look back and draw a line, if you like, and make it into a journey. I think when you have, and I'm not claiming I've had this, but I think that when you've had an awakening to truth, you realize there's no journey. It's always here. It's always now. And the journey was sort of a story we tell ourselves. But here's my story. I grew up as an Orthodox Jew, but when I was 16 years old, I discovered through a book I read called When Zen Comes West by Christmas Humphreys, who at that time was the head of the Buddhist Society of London, I guess, or maybe England. But I read When Zen Comes West, and I was totally fascinated by this idea of Zen Buddhism. I taught myself how to meditate according to the book, which is absurd, but I, thought I was being cool. And I had something happen to me. I won't say I had an experience. because I wasn't there when it happened. You know, when someone says, "Oh, I had a deep meditation," there was an ego that's having an experience, and I'm not talking about that. I was meditating, and then I disappeared. What Dogen, a famous medieval Zen master, called dropping body and mind. So RAMI was gone, not for long, but when I came back, I was convinced that everything is a happening of one thing. You can call it God, you can call it nature, you can call it energy, consciousness. There's lots of language around it, but ultimately there's no word for it. But I just knew that everything was this one thing. And it was me. It included me. I don't mean it was just me, but it included me. And at that point, religion started to mean less and less to me. Certainly Orthodox Judaism meant at that point nothing to me. So I became, a Buddhist for, a few years until I realized, no, this experience, and I've had it more than, it's this non-experience, which I've never had more than once. The language is so crazy that it takes away all religion. So I started out as an Orthodox Jew. I went through a Buddhist phase. I've been initiated into Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta Hinduism. I'm interested in stepping beyond all of the isms and ideologies and dropping this body mind and I don't know, because the language is so limited, reaffirming the reality that is all things, or reconnecting, or even the word reconnecting, Rob, is wrong, because you're never not connected. So as soon as you talk about it, you're mistaken. But you have to, if we're using language, you have to forgive the fact that language is bounded and dualistic. So given all those caveats, my spiritual path, though I am a rabbi and I'm proud to be a rabbi, I'm happy as a Jew, but my fundamental work in the world of spirituality is to get beyond religion and to help people realize their true nature and the true nature of everything, which is, and then pick your favorite word, Brahman, Tao, God, Mother, Nature, whatever.
It almost seems as if we are withholding back the evolutionary truth about religion, and I'm just using that as a word so that people can associate, or our beliefs, or being part of any religious philosophical association, group, or society, that for some reason the truth evades us all. And there are those who read the Bible inside out, backwards and forwards. Then there are those who take religious pilgrimages from one philosophy to the next, searching, always searching. And if all these different philosophies led to one focal point, I can understand it. But it seems, Rabbi, and I hope you can help me better understand, that with everyone, with all these different philosophies that are out there, all these different beliefs, all these different gods, deities, and why are we still searching after all these years? Is it possible, Rabbi, that the answer is right in front of us, but the answer is so simple it evades us because of its simplicity?
No, that's exactly right. I mean, it's not that the truth evades us. We are doing our damnedest to evade the truth. We invent all these religions to prevent ourselves from seeing the truth. I mean, just take, and this is true in many, many religions, you can find the same statements. But let's just work with what most people know, teachings of Jesus.
Okay.
When Jesus says in the Gospel according to John, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Or when Jesus says, I and the Father are one. First of all, Jesus is a Jew, so he's speaking as a Jew.
Right.
Most people who read those statements read them in a egoic framework. So they hear Jesus saying, I, Jesus,
Right.
am the way, the truth, and the life. The language Jesus is saying, he'd be speaking Aramaic, not Greek and not Hebrew. He'd be speaking Aramaic, which is a cognate of Hebrew. So he would be using a term that's spiritually loaded. He would have been saying Ethia, which is from the book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 14, where God reveals, and these are stories made up by people, but
Sure.
in the story, there's philosophical teachings. And in Exodus 3:14, God is revealed as Ethia, the I am, that is everything. So you find that in the Bhagavad Gita, you find that in the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Hinduism in general. So Jesus is saying, the I am is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the divine except by realizing the I am that is, you and me and everyone else. But people read Jesus from the egoic perspective as opposed to the divine perspective. So we create a religion that makes Jesus God without ever realizing that Jesus is trying to tell you, you're God.
Right.
Not all of God, but you're a divine being.
And
Every mystic tradition teaches us that.
And I think that is proven well, in fact, in the book of Genesis, where God said, and let us create man in our image, in our likeness. So if we are being created in the image and likeness of God, then we ourselves are gods.
Yeah. I mean, you got to find another metaphor. People think in metaphors, especially when you're dealing with spirituality. So a wonderful metaphor is God is the ocean, and we, not just humans, but all beings, are the waves of the ocean. That's the image and likeness. A wave is in the image and likeness of the ocean that waves it.
I like that.
So we're waves of this divine ocean. That all waves, there's only one ocean, and it waves in an infinite variety of waves, infinite variety of beings. So but what we do is we say, no, only these waves are holy.
Right.
You other waves, nah, you don't count. Or only this wave is divine, and all other waves. It's so stupid. It's just what you said earlier.
Yeah.
We seek and we never find because there's nothing to find. You're it already. It's like you've been given the truth and you refuse to accept it.
Rabbi, please stand by. I've got to take a break. Exonation, our very special guest this hour is Rabbi RAMI SHAPIRO. His website or his Substack newsletter is available at rabbirami.substack.com. And we'll both be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and streamed around the world on Classic 1220 CFAJ AM at classic1220.ca. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Some days I walk, some days I crawl, some days I can't feel much at all. My body's a maze that I try to read. Every step forward, a silent need. But I won't let this break who I am. I've learned how to fight, learned how to stand. I may fall, but still I rise. Through the pain, through the tears in
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone, and I am Rob McConnell. My special guest of this hour is Rabbi SHAPIRO, and his Substack newsletter is available at RAMI.substack.com. How many gods are there then, Rabbi?
As many as we can invent. We invent gods in our own image for our own power. I mean, religion is all about power and control. So, we invent these ideas for the benefit of the people who invent them. And we invent gods, and then the gods need priests or priestesses. But it's all about power and control. Any god that comes with an adjective, Jewish God, Christian God, Hindu, Buddhist, Wiccan God, whatever it is, any god that comes with an adjective is made up. There's just one reality, this I am that we were talking about before.
Right.
And you can't have a priesthood around that. You can't have a religion around that, which is why the people who run religions don't want that God because there's no money in it.
There's that word, money. I was thrown back years ago when it was pointed out to me at a conference I was at that the Vatican is the richest corporation in the world and has been for several years. And it just blows my mind that if in fact there is some basis of truth in the biblical stories that Christians believe, I'd read out of the Bible, I wonder what would happen if Jesus was to return to see what his religion or his philosophy has blossomed into a cash grab. Is it possible at this point in our evolution, Rabbi, that religion is no longer necessary?
Well, it depends. It depends. I mean, religion is a way of organizing people.
Right.
So the question is it necessary to organize people? And then for what end?
Mm-hmm.
So, why do we organize? We organize politically, we organize for all kinds of reasons. We may need to organize, and religion is a way to organize, but do we need to organize in an us versus them manner? I mean, almost every religion, I say almost because maybe I'm missing one, but most religions organize in an us versus them manner. Judaism, Jews are the chosen people. Everybody else is not chosen. Now, modern Jews will go to great lengths, liberal Jews will go to great lengths. Well, it doesn't mean we're better. Of course it means we're better. What's the point of being chosen by God among all the nations of the world? It means you're better. That's what they thought it meant. So if you don't like it, drop the idea. If you're embarrassed by it, stop using it.
Mm-hmm.
When Christians are saved. Everybody else, well, okay, I'm going to say a word you shouldn't say on the radio, but everyone else is screwed. Everyone else is doomed.
Right.
In Islam, you're a true believer or an infidel. You're either high caste or low caste or no caste, an outcast. Everything is divided up this way. And that kind of divisive organization is what conventional religion gives us. And we can do without that.
Yeah.
We don't need that kind of organizational structure.
Well, of course,
we may need something else.
When you were talking about being the chosen people, that's because of that particular group's God has chosen this particular group as their chosen people. It doesn't mean that gods of other deities, gods of other religious philosophies also included for example, the Israelis, the Jews, as the chosen people of God. How has this been able to survive the centuries without somebody saying, hey, wait a minute here? something doesn't add up to this picture. Who
No,
says?
it's simple. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's simple. I mean, it's which came first, the God or the people. So
right.
if the people came first. So the people came first, and they said, okay, we need a God.
Yeah.
So if we're going to invent a God, let's invent a God that loves us better than everybody else, that shows us. I mean, it's like Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. So Coke says, we're the real thing.
Yep.
What are they going to say? No, Pepsi's better. They're not going to do that. It's bad for market share. So the Jewish people invent the Jewish God, and the Jewish God then chooses the Jewish people. It's a giant duh. It's just like the Christians invent the Christian God, who then saves the Christian people. Who else is he going to save? The Hindu? No, it doesn't work that way. So, yeah, it's not surprising that Lord Krishna doesn't choose the Jews. He never heard of the Jews because the people who invented Lord Krishna never heard of the Jews. So it's just a circular thing. But eventually, I hope, but throughout human history, there have been individuals who have broken free from this circular BS and have stepped outside this nonsense. I would think some of these great awakened beings who have been trapped later by a religion like Jesus, but people, closer to our own time, people like Spinoza, people like in the 20th century, people like Einstein and what he calls cosmic religion, where you get beyond all this nonsense. People like Tagore in India, or people like Ramana Maharshi or Nisargadatta Maharaj or Ramesh Balsekar. There are these individuals who can see through all of this nonsense. In 1 Corinthians, St. Paul says, now I see through a distorted lens or a glass that's, a dark glass. I don't see clearly. I only see partially. But eventually I'll see the whole. And seeing the whole is when, I guess blanked out is where he says this, but Paul says, there's no Jew or Gentile, male or female, Jew or Gentile, slave or free, male or female, in Christ Jesus. In other words, when you put on the mind of Christ, when you step beyond the limitations of religion and you enter into that state of cosmic consciousness where you realize this I am is you, Atman is Brahman, the way the Hindus would say it. When you realize that level of awareness, then all these divisions fall away. And you just laugh at the whole thing. You're not angry about religion. You have compassion on people who are trapped in it. But you're not. You're free from
it. It's very easy to understand. I did find it very easy to understand as I was growing up. And yes, I was. We were Anglican. We went to church every Sunday. Every Saturday we had priests. Sunday school, I thought it was another way of mom and dad getting a little bit more rest away from us kids. And as I grew older and I watched and I listened and I learned, it became very clear to me that religion was a way to try and explain the existence of who, what, when, where, and why we were at that specific time with the limited knowledge that we had, and as we talked about before, some way to bring law to the people so that there would be some sort of social structure. And the Ten Commandments, a perfect example, the first criminal code of any country. It was necessary at that time, but I believe that they took it a little bit too far and started alienating certain groups from one philosophy versus another philosophy, because it is undeniably true that we live in a binary existence. Everything is a 0 and a 1. You have up and down, north, south, good, bad, heaven, hell, God, Satan's. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Here we are, so many thousands of years later, and we still haven't got our crap together. We're still killing in the name of religion. You know, one of the best songs that was ever written, one of the verses goes, "Go ahead and kill your neighbor, go ahead and kill a friend. Do it in the name of heaven, justify it in the end." You know, it's... Why do we still think that way?
Well, that's what we do, because we misread the whole binary, right? It's not one. It's not 0 or 1.
Right.
It's 0 and 1.
Exactly.
Up and down go together. In and out go together. It's there is no separation. It's, you know, when I used to teach, because I'm in my mid-70s and I no longer have a synagogue, but when I used to teach kids, I would do it. I would talk about this binary nature as part of a greater whole, what the Taoists would call a yin and yang, as part of the greater supreme ultimate, the Taiji. And I would give them, we're talking about, you know, let's say 10-year-olds.
Rabbi, I hate to do this, but I do have to take my next break, so please stand by, my friend. Exonation, our guest this hour is Rabbi Shapiro. And if you'd like to find his Substack newsletter, it's available at rabbirami.substack.com. And we'll both be back as the X Zone continues from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Interesting conversation with a very interesting gentleman, and thank you, Rabbi, for joining us. We'll be right back. So whatever you do, do not go away.
Let this break who I am. I've learned how to fight, learned how to stand. I may fall, but still I rise. Through the pain, through the tears in my eyes. In the twilight's hush, where shadows whisper low, a silver glimmer streaks across the sky, aglow with a haunting melody. The air begins to thrum, an echo of the wonders that from beyond have come. Celestial encounter as the stars align, a tapestry of wonders woven through space and time. From the void of darkness, a chorus sings so bright, mysteries unfolding in the velvet night.
Welcome back, everyone. Rabbi Shapiro is our special guest. His newsletter is available at rabbirami.substack.com. Please continue the story that we were just getting into, Rabbi, before I had to go to my break.
Yeah, sure. So we were talking about the whole notion of binary, non-binary. The universe is set up so that there are opposites that are part of a greater unity, a greater non-duality. So when I taught this to little kids, I would give them bar magnets, little ones, thin ones,
All right.
that you could cut. And we would talk about positive poles and negative poles. And I would say something like, ugh, negative. Let's get rid of the negative. And we'd have those little kid-safe scissors, and the magnets were thin enough that you could cut them. So we identified the negative pole, let's just cut that off. So you cut the negative end off, and then you discover, oh, we still have a negative and a positive pole, so we didn't cut enough. So then you cut some more, and then you cut some more, and eventually you get to the point where you realize you can't have positive without negative. A magnet is singular, but it has both poles. The universe is singular, but it has all opposites. The divine is one, but it manifests, all as all opposites. So it's not like you can have good without evil or up without down or anything like that. So unfortunately, people don't get that. They want good without bad. They want to be saved without, the opposite. They want their way, and there's no other way.
Right.
And that's where all the evil comes from. All the mistakes we make is when we try to cut the universe into this my way or no way kind of thinking. And that's the problem. And that's what religions tend to do. Now, not every religion. Taoism is the most clear about this, because its central symbol with the yin and the yang is this dynamic balance between the two as part of a greater whole. Or the non-dual Hinduism, Advaita Vedanta, tells you the same thing. So there is a way out of the trap of the binary, because binary thinking is just that. It's just a way of thinking. And our religions, especially Western religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, that promote that binary thinking. But the mystics of those religions don't. So our problem, and I'll end with this idea, our problem when it comes to religion in the West is we study theologians. We should be studying the mystics.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because the majority of any religious philosophy is based on mysticism. There's mysticism about everything: the creation, the spirituality itself. It is totally mystical. That's how come we don't look at it that way? Why is it that we look at it the way it's presently set up?
Well, I would say because we're looking for answers, and mysticism leaves you in a state of awe. And I think it's too scary. My definition of a mystic is someone who doesn't settle for a second-hand God, if you like. A mystic wants to, what the Bible says, taste and see. A mystic wants to have a direct experience of reality. And most people don't. They just want to have, let me tell you what it is. You don't have to experience it. That's too intense. I'll just tell you. Here's what God is. Just pray, worship in this way or that way. Follow these rules. God will love you. God will reward you in the end. And when you find out that I'm BSing you, don't worry about it, because you'll be dead and it won't matter. Most people are satisfied with that. And when they get nervous that maybe they're wrong, then they get militarized and they kill other people from other religions. And if they win in their war, then they feel, oh, my God is the true God, because my God killed their God, and therefore my God is right. I mean, it's just madness.
Perfect example would be the splitting of the Red Sea and all the Egyptians that were drowned. And something that always baffled me is, if you've got God who is the Father of all, and you had factions within the family of God who were against each other, the Egyptians against the Jews, for example. The God of the Bible was a very vicious God. And I'll tell you something, in my opinion, if God was truly the way that the Old Testament depicts him, he was a very mean man. And where fatherhood, goodness, and graciousness comes into the entire picture of the Old Testament, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Because
God in the Hebrew Bible is a mixed bag. I mean, God is both violent and compassionate. The Bible's very big, and it's written by a lot of different people over centuries, and so you get very, very different images of the divine. But when you get to the New Testament, people like to think that it's all a God of love and
Right.
everything is nice, but read the book of Revelation and you find out, no, God is still a violent
Be an old man.
SOB. Yeah, well, Jesus comes back and his tongue is a sword, and he slaughters all the non-believers, and the blood is up to the bridle of his horse, and the people love. I mean, not the people.
Mm-hmm.
People love violence, and their religions and their gods reflect that. Um, there's something. There is something fundamentally, you could call it original sin, but there's an original psychic break in the human psyche that causes us not to realize the non-duality of everything, so that we just don't see that the universe is this dynamic, wondrous happening
Mm-hmm.
of which we are a part. And because we don't, we do all this damage to nature, to one another, and ultimately to ourselves.
With what's going on in the world today, the geopolitical upset, the financial upset, the people who are starving to death, and all the negativity in the world today, I believe that this is the times of the times that are depicted in the book of Revelation. Except the Revelation, in my opinion, is going to be the awareness that you and I have been talking about this hour, where the true meaning of religion comes to the fold and people realize that they've been duped all these years.
Boy, I hope you're right. If you look at, this is just me, I am not an optimist.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at human history, it's always dark.
It's true.
People are just always, there's something wrong with us. And we always fight. We always create, one evil, violent religion after another. We're always doing this. Now, maybe there's something that's going to be different this time. I don't know. How is it that we don't get that we're part of this ecosystem, and if we pollute the air,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to strangle ourselves? Why don't we get that? We don't. We just don't seem to understand what reality is all about.
I don't. I don't think that the human race is the smartest group of people in this vast universal wonderment that we were part of. We're pretty dumb.
Yeah.
We're pretty dumb.
We are blind to the reality
Mm-hmm.
of which we are a part, and there are teachers out there who have said to us for thousands of years,
Mm-hmm.
"No, you're missing it. Here's the truth." And we go, "Oh, great. We really appreciate that. Now we're going to kill you." It's just, this is what we do. So don't confuse me with the facts. We're going to get rid of you.
We know that climate is an issue. We know pollution is an issue. We know that there's so many things that we are doing wrong, that we're doing more harm than good. And yet, even though the facts can be placed right in front of you, there are so many who say, "No, that's wrong. You're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. It's not like that at all. The icebergs are melting because the icebergs are melting. The polar bears are dying because there's no icebergs. That's because they're melting." And the story goes on and on and on and on. With everything that we've learned, I can't understand why people cannot see what's right in front of them. It makes no sense to me, and the longer I try to take time out of my day to try and bring some semblance into this stupidity that we all live through, I just can't make ends of it. And yet there are those people who will believe in little gray men from another planet have come here and are stealing our people, and at that, you've got alien abductions, you have crop circles, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on, let's get our cards in order. Let's start
Well,
looking at reality. I think that the aliens and the ghosts and all the other mystical things that are out there are just a way for us to escape from reality, because we are basically a bunch of ostriches with our heads in the dirt and our butts in the air.
I would say the same about religion. I think that it's what you said early in the conversation. The truth is right there.
Yeah.
In the book of Deuteronomy, Moses says that the truth is not in the sky, because if it's in the sky, you're going to go, who's going to go up in the sky? Of course, he didn't have Elon Musk rockets, but he says, who's going to go up in the sky and bring it down for us? And he says it's not across the ocean, because there's a desert culture. Who's going to go across the ocean to bring it for us? Later, centuries later, Jesus says something similar in the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus says, if you think that the truth is in the sky, the birds will get there before you do.
Yeah.
If you think it's across the sea, the fish will get there before you do. The fact is,
Rabbi, I've
as
got to
Jesus
do it
says-
to you. I've got to do it to you again. We have to take our
Go
final
ahead.
break. No
Pay the
problems.
bills.
It's always great talking to you. We'll be back on the other side of this break. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone.
The air begins to thrum and echo. In the late night hours when the world's asleep, Rob McConnell's voice echoes secrets to keep. From Roswell's whispers to tales of the sky, on the X Zone radio, we learn to fly high. With every new guest, the story unfolds, from abductees' tales to the mysteries told. Government cover-ups, they're deep and they're wide, but we're on a quest with the truth as our guide. Oh, journey through the X Zone, the cosmos we roam, searching for answers beyond our earthly home. Are we alone in the dark, or watching from afar? In the heart of the night, we're reaching for stars. They say there's a base where the secrets are bound, Area 51 hidden there underground. Astrophysicists probing with questions they raise, as the galaxies spin in mysterious ways. Abductees sharing their harrowing plight, each story a thread cast in the fabric of night. With an open mind, Rob guides us through, peeling back layers, revealing what's true. Oh, journey through the X Zone, the cosmos we roam, searching for answers beyond our earthly home. Are we alone in the dark, or watching from afar? In the heart of the night, we're reaching for stars. From Rendlesham's light to the skies of the bay, each episode calls, pulling us into the fray. Witnesses speaking of things that they've seen, in a dance with the unknown, kept lively and keen. Ancient astronaut theories twist and they weave, in the quest for the truth, it's okay to believe. The darkness has secrets, and so do the skies.
And welcome back, everyone. That is Journey Through the X Zone. That's on the newest CD that we have here at the X Zone. And if you'd like more information about it, just send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Wow, this has been a great hour. My guest, Rabbi RAMI SHAPIRO, has been our guest. And we were just, once again, caught by a commercial break. And please, Rabbi, let's continue our final story about Jesus.
Yeah, Rob, I was just, making the parallel. Moses said things about get to the sky,
Hmm.
go across the sea, but the truth is actually within you, says it's on your heart and in your mouth already. And then Jesus says something similar. He says that the kingdom is within you and around you. And that's what people don't want to accept, because then it's their responsibility. If
Ah.
the truth is right here and right now,
Hmm.
if the divine is happening as you and me, then it's our responsibility to live as divine beings. And I don't mean beings with godlike powers. I'm talking about holy beings who can live the golden rule and not excuse ourselves by taking refuge in some arcane theological game that says, no, we're the chosen, or we're the saved, or we're the true believers, and we can do whatever we want to the other. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But that's how religion operates.
Yeah.
But the truth is simple, but it's the simple that people are afraid of.
That is so true. I used to have a bunch of T-shirts that I used to give away to guests and people that I would meet at symposiums, and it was just a black T-shirt and it had white writing on it. Life is simple. We complicate it. Boom.
Yeah,
And do you
yeah.
know how
It's
many people would come up and say, "What does that mean?" There you go.
complicated for me, Rob.
Yeah. Where do you see religious philosophy in the future, Rabbi?
Well, I think it goes in two directions. I think that for most people, it just goes in a circle, and we're going to literally circle the wagons, and most people are just going to cling to their, I don't know, pre-modern beliefs and take comfort in those, and still maintain the intrinsic violence and us versus them mentality that the religions hold. But I think that there is a growing number of individuals who are moving beyond that. I think that something happened. I think it's 1969. Maybe you'll correct the date. It could be 68 or around there somewhere, when we saw the Earth from the moon,
Mm-hmm.
that Earthrise image.
Yeah.
I think that was a moment of revelatory transformation for humanity. That we saw not just Earthrise, but then we saw, I think it's called the pale blue marble, the Earth floating in the blackness of space.
That was a
And
wonderful.
we saw,
Yeah.
yeah, we saw one world. We didn't see the Rand McNally map of a flat Earth with all the markers, dividing the different nations one from the other. We
Mm-hmm.
saw what Buckminster Fuller, showed us, where it's just one basic landmass of one ocean, and it's just one world and one humanity, and and really one ethic, which is the golden rule: what's hateful to you, don't do to anybody else. Is
Right.
how is the earliest form. That's Confucius. Later, Hillel says the same thing, and then after Hillel, Jesus comes and puts it in the positive. But however you use it, it's the golden rule, and that is, my hope is that's the direction of human spirituality, and that will carry with it a transformation of consciousness, moving us beyond this binary to a non-binary, non-dual uh, sense of reality, which is the true reality. That's how reality is. It won't be us against them. It'll be us and them together. It won't do away with diversity. It'll just make diversity part of a greater. You'll realize that the ocean has many waves. My father's house has many mansions.
Mm-hmm.
The yin and the yang within the greater supreme ultimate. So there is a movement in that direction. If I'm optimistic, I think there'll be enough people to hit a tipping point where it begins to shift humanity in that direction. There'll always be people clinging to the old religion, the old gods, and the violence that goes with them. But there may be enough people going in a different direction, going toward what Einstein calls a cosmic religion and what people call cosmic consciousness, that will take us beyond the old religion into something new. Um, and that's when you'll find the mystics of the different religions coming to the fore. Of you still have Christianity, but it'll be the mystics of Christianity that will be speaking, and not the medieval theologians of the us versus them, the mystics of Judaism, mystics of Islam. It'll be a Sufi focused Islam rather than the more theocratic Islam, and that'll be true of all the religions.
I guess my last question for you tonight is, well, first of all, before I go into that, I want to thank you again for joining us tonight. It's been a great time talking to you, and I believe that there is a way to avoid any crisis. And I think that if we all were to seriously take a look at what we've done in the past, what the possibilities are for the future of this planet, and work as a united group, that we could turn everything around. It won't happen overnight, but we do have the ability. I truly believe that we can make a positive difference in this world of ours, and hopefully bring forward many more tomorrows that a lot of people think that nah, don't worry about it, we're not going to last that long. I really believe we can, and I believe in humanity. And I believe in people like you and the other people who are saying, hey guys, yes, we screwed up in the past. Yes, we have problems with climate. Yes, we have problems with different religious organizations against each other. Whatever there is a problem, there is a solution. All it takes is people to sit, talk, respect each other, and work together to correct the issue at hand. So I want to thank you very much for joining us, Rabbi. And lastly, I've got about a minute and a half here. If you could share one message with humanity right now, what would it be?
Well, first, let me thank you for having me on the show, Rob. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. One message, I think the one message is, don't believe you're who you think you are. You're really the part of the divine. And if you can find a way to reconnect to your true self, that would make the kind of conversations that Rob was just talking about happen much quicker than any of us might imagine possible.
These are very strange times, very, very tense times. I never thought that I would see the world in the state it's in through all my years. I've lived through the Vietnam War. I've lived through the 9/11. I'm 72 years old, so it doesn't take a genius to figure out what has happened in this little sliver of history. But through all that,
yeah, well, that's true. But you're also in Canada, and I'm jealous. I'm in the United States.
You're always welcome here, Rabbi. You're always welcome.
I went to school in Canada. I did my master's degree at McMaster in Hamilton.
Well,
Ontario.
we're about 20 minutes from Hamilton.
I never should have left.
Well, we're only 20 minutes from Hamilton.
I love Canada. I love Hamilton.
You know what? We love our neighbors to the south. We really do. And it's so sad to realize that one man and his foolish ambitions to become the king are going to cause
Daddy. He wants to be daddy now.
Oh, does he? Oh, well, maybe
that's what he's calling himself, Daddy.
Well, maybe the information that Elon Musk had about him and the Epstein files were true.
Oh God.
I don't know. But anyway, Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to the next time.
You too.
Next time you join us here. So take care, my friend, and don't be a stranger.
Take care, Rob.
You too, sir. All right, Exo Nation, that was my guest at this hour, Rabbi RAMI SHAPIRO. A lot of information in that entire hour that we just had to unpack. So think about it, Exo Nation. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And we all have the ability to be part of that solution? I believe we can. By the way, to all our Canadian listeners, wherever you are, happy Canada Day. Tomorrow being the 1st of July is another Canada's birthday. And, well, I'll be back on the other side of this hour as we continue with the X Zone. Hour number 2 starts right now. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. I'll be back. Don't go away.
In the twilight's hush, where shadows whisper